Yes you, I know you are planning a trip to the Amalfi Coast and Naples this summer, and I spent a week in this region last year, and I'm also a meticulous travel planner, so this is my guide on all things Amalfi Coast and Naples. Things to do, places to eat, and also just like general tips that you should know before you start planning your trip there. Hi there, if you are new around here, my name is Jess and I'm a Kiwi who lives in London, and I spend my spare time traveling and eating food and also being that annoying person who broadcasts it all on social media. So if you're interested in that, there's more on my TikTok and Instagram. But otherwise, enough about me. Let's talk about Italy. Things to do in the Amalfi Coast and Naples. There is literally so much to do in this region that there's something for everybody. This list is based on what I really enjoyed and sort of my travel style, but I will include a list of honorable mentions at the end that we didn't quite get to, but that you might like to include in your trip as well. Let's begin with a few spots in Sorrento. Firstly, the old town. This was so gorgeous and such a total surprise to me that this was here. There were some lovely sort of small streets, cobblestone alleyways to discover, plenty of shops, gelato stores, wine bars, and a really beautiful place to spend the evening strolling around as well. You will also want to add this piazza in Sorrento to your list for sunsets. It is an amazing place, completely free. So what we did was we grabbed a couple of takeaway pizzas and sort of that Aperol spritz that came in the little bottle. We found a bench here and just watched the most beautiful sunset over the coast. This was one of the most surprising and amazing things we did in Italy, the walk to Bagni Regina Giovanna. It is this incredible swimming hole located about a 40-minute walk from Sorrento's old town. Really easy to get to. So what we did was we packed a picnic for the afternoon and just sort of spent a lazy day there exploring the Roman ruins and swimming and just living our best Italian summer life. Two things you want to note about this: there are a lot of stairs involved in getting down to the swimming hole, so just keep that in mind. And also we went in shoulder season, so it really wasn't that busy at all. But if it's high season, you might not want to time it with like the middle of the day, maybe go really early or later in the evenings. Moving on to Capri, we didn't quite get to make it to the Blue Grotto here, but instead we opted to do a kayaking tour with Capri Hydro. I just booked this on Airbnb Experiences, really easy. And what I loved about this was it was a very relaxing way to see the coastline, a little bit different to say the big boat tours that you would do with the Blue Grotto, and here you get to explore the green caves, so something that I don't think a lot of people get to see up close, and I really enjoyed that. I don't have any specific recommendations for Positano, but all I can say is just enjoy your time here wandering around, soaking up the atmosphere. We also had an incredible Airbnb with the most amazing view, so really all we wanted to do was to spend time there overlooking the whole town. My one tip here is it can get quite crowded downtown, so head further up the main road for a little bit of relief, and on your way stop at Collina Positano Bakery. This is a gelato shop and bakery, and they serve up the infamous gelato in those sort of like Amalfi lemons. Really stunning. Once you're in Naples, you will definitely want to do a street art tour. This was an impulse purchase of mine on Airbnb Experiences again, and we did it with Around Locals Napoli. And what I loved about this is that the tour host Valeria is a local, so she grew up in the area and had all of the stories behind how this place has come to be. And she was also so kind to treat us to coffee and local delicacies sort of along the way. So definitely book this if you are in Naples. It is of course mandatory to do a pizza making class, and there are so many to choose from, so I just recommend going on Airbnb Experiences, filtering by the best reviewed, and then picking one of these there. We did one and we absolutely loved it, and we even got a certificate saying we had completed our pizza making course. Now for a couple of honorable mentions. We obviously weren't able to do everything in just a week, so I'm going to put a bunch of things on the screen here that we missed out on that will definitely be on our list next time, and that you might like to add to your trip instead of some of the things that I've shared. Sorry for the lighting change. London is being London, and as per usual, it is grey and rainy at 1 p.m. in the middle of the day in spring. What's new? Anyway, if you are enjoying this video, give it a like and it'll help other people who are planning a big trip to Italy see it too. Moving on to more important things, let's talk about places to eat in the Amalfi Coast and Naples, and there are plenty of them. Starting off with Sorrento, I have two recommendations here. Firstly, this little wine bar that is located on one of the main pedestrian streets, a perfect place to pull up a chair outside, order up a limoncello spritz, order up a cheese board, and just watch the world go by. Next, you have to check out Storico 8. This was one of my favorite places we ate at on our entire Italy trip. It is a tiny little family-run restaurant located right in the center of the old town. Again, pull up a seat outside, order their focaccia, and just, have the most stunning evening. Next on to Capri, and again, 2 recommendations here, starting off with Pulali, which is maybe one of the most gorgeous little wine and pasta bars I've ever been to. It is located right in the center of the town in a clock tower and surrounded by the most beautiful colors. So you will really want to come here maybe at golden hour. It's a gorgeous time to see this place. Order up the pasta, some really unique dishes here, and just enjoy your evening. It is definitely a bit more of a pricier option, so maybe something to consider for a night out. You will also want to check out this bakery. They had some lovely sandwiches. We picked some up and went and had them in a park nearby, and then we also popped back for gelato later in the day. Definitely the best way to end your day in Italy. I will finish up with Naples because we didn't eat out much in Positano because it was a little bit expensive and we were only there for one night. But in Naples, all of my recommendations are in the Spanish Quarter, so if you're a foodie, you definitely have to stop by this area. Firstly, this bakery, which had a beautiful cookie selection, but what you will want to try here is baba, which is a local sort of sweet treat delicacy. It is basically just a cake soaked in rum syrup. You have to taste it to really understand how delicious it is. Also stop by this coffee shop, which serves one of the most unique coffees I've ever had. The best way to describe it is kind of like an espresso soft serve. It's called a caldo freddo, and one of the loveliest things to have in the middle of the day during the heat. Also, this little restaurant here, they were so lovely and welcoming, and probably it was some of the best pasta we had on the entire trip. We had starters, we had drinks, we had pasta and gnocchi, and it all came to under 25 euros, so really good value for money. Also, I know a YouTube video is not the most easy thing to have on hand while you are traveling, so I have made guides for both the things to do and the places to eat section of this video, and they are over on my Instagram. You can head over there, save them, and sort of access them whenever you need to. Okay, now let's finish up with a couple of must-knows that you should keep in mind before you travel to the Amalfi Coast and Naples. I will touch on our itinerary, when's the best time to travel, and a couple of bits about transport and accommodation. Starting with our itinerary, we did a week here, so 6 nights, and the first 2 nights were in Sorrento, followed by 1 night in Capri, 1 night in Positano, and then 2 more nights in Naples. And I think this was definitely enough to get a taste of all the different areas, but if I did it again, I would add on another day or 2 just so we could do more day trips, say to places like Pompeii or the other towns, or so that we could just have like a relaxing seaside beach day as well. Let's talk about when to visit. Peak tourist season in the Amalfi Coast and Naples is sort of late May through to September, so if you want to avoid all the crowds and the expensive prices, try and go either side of this. We went at the very start of May, which was a little bit busy but completely manageable, and I would definitely make this trade-off over going, like, for example, in the middle of August. The weather was amazing, but the water was a little bit cold, so just keep that in mind. Now let's talk about getting around. This was one of the main questions I had about our Italy trip, and what I will say about Italy transport is that there are lots of options and it is pretty good, but you just have to have a little bit of patience and sort of be really onto it as well. In terms of getting to the coast from Naples, we took the local commuter train, which dropped us at Sorrento, and this is a great option also if you want to see Pompeii because it is along the same train line. There are also buses that go between the towns to help you get around. They are a little bit flaky and can sometimes get busy, but if you catch one of these, it definitely is worth it because the views you see from driving along the coast are stunning. Another way to get around the towns is by the ferries, and I found these a little bit difficult to book online, so I suggest just heading down to the ferry terminals and booking them that way. We were fine to book them on the day because we were traveling in shoulder season, but if you can and have the option to, maybe head down and book them in advance, especially if you are traveling in summer. You can also hire a car or a scooter, but a lot of the towns in the Amalfi Coast only kind of have one road in and out, and they can get very congested, and they looked very chaotic to drive, so not for me, but if you are a confident driver, you can hire a car or a scooter. And also a special little mention to these tiny little buses on Capri. Not all superheroes wear capes, but these bus drivers were incredibly skilled. Now let's chat accommodation. The Amalfi Coast is a popular destination, so basically you will want to book in advance for this. Naples, you might be able to get away with booking a little bit closer to the time, but again, in high season, I would recommend booking in advance. Places like Sorrento and Amalfi and some of the smaller surrounding towns are a lot more affordable, but if you want to stay on Capri or Positano, you will be paying Capri and Positano prices. All of these areas have sort of a range of like hyper luxurious hotels, some more mid-range options, and then Airbnbs. But if you want to save a little bit of cash, just book something that's a little bit outside of town and walk in. I booked our entire trip on Airbnb and booking.com, and that way I found I got the best value for money and also managed to get some cute places with great views as well. I don't know about you, but I am about 3 seconds away from booking another trip to the Amalfi Coast, especially staring at the rain outside my window right now. And if you're in the midst of planning your dream Italian summer vacay, check out my Rome guide. I cover things to do and places to eat in the city, all in here. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!